Welcome to our first series. I appreciate you stopping by. This is your brother Truth. What we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about dumb diverses. All right. Many of y'all may not know what dumb diverses is, but it's very important and vital to understand how and why this nation was formed. I'm gonna show you a quick video, part of it, from a brother named Bill Weiss. Bill Weiss, you can find him on other platforms, put it like that. And he made a quick dumb diverses clip, and then we're gonna talk about it. So let's get to it.
Domination, the language of the papal bulls.
The theme of domination is found in various Vatican documents from the 15th century. For example, in the papal bull of May 4th of 1493, Pope Alexander VI says that it is pleasing to the divine majesty that barbarous nations be subjugated. The Latin word is deprimentur, which means to reduce, to cast down or press down, to hold down, and it also states that it is pleasing to the divine majesty for the Christian empire to be propagated. Pope Alexander VI stated, "We trust in him, from whom empires and dominations and all good things proceed." The Holy See of the Catholic Church issued many such documents even before 1493. For example, in 1452, Pope Nicholas V issued a directive to King Alfonso of Portugal to go to the western coast of Africa and to invade, capture, vanquish, and subdue all Saracens, pagans, and other enemies of Christ, to reduce their persons to perpetual slavery, and to take away all their possessions and property.
We're gonna leave it right there because I don't know how deep series works. But you can find that yourself. As you can see in the video, it was the Pope that directed the transatlantic slave trade to the western coast of Africa. I know you hear all the time in your history classes and all of these scholars all around the earth that, Africans sold Africans. Well, that wasn't necessarily the case, my good people. And we're going to read some things. Dumb diverses. This is an actual copy. Right? Just simplified for us to be able to see what's going on. This is off of the Doctrine of Discovery webpage. Okay, let's read it. The Papal Bull, Dumb Diverses, June 18th, 1452. Pope Nicholas V issued the Papal Bull, Dumb Diverses, on June 18th, 1452. It authorized Alfonso V of Portugal to reduce any Saracens, Muslims, and pagans, and any other unbelievers to perpetual slavery. I'm going to stop it right there because when you go down and when you get deep into the word Saracens, right, they put right there in quotes, or not quotation, but in parentheses, that it's referring to Muslims. But we'll probably go down that road a little bit later in the series on different ones, because I'm going to split this up in probably into like 10 different parts. But that word really represented Moors, the blacker Moors. Okay, if you don't know who the Moors are, Moors, just go Google it. And many of them were Hebrew. Let's continue. This facilitated the Portuguese slave trade from West Africa. Okay, so this is the reason the transatlantic slave trade was even initiated. The same Pope wrote the bull Romanus Pontifex on January the 5th, 1455, to the same Alfonso. As a follow-up to the Dumb Diverses, it extended to the Catholic nations of Europe. dominion over discovered lands during the Age of Discovery, along with sanctifying the seizure of non-Christian lands. It encouraged the enslavement of native non-Christian peoples in Africa. And guess what? The New World too. Let's read that sentence one more time because that's a very powerful sentence. Along with sanctifying the seizure of non-Christian lands, it encouraged the enslavement of native non-Christian peoples in Africa and the New World. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you seen anywhere in your American history that the natives that we know today went through slavery? I'm going to give you 30 seconds to think about that. I needed a coffee break anyway. No, you haven't. As a matter of fact, you heard the opposite. You actually heard that some of the natives owned slaves. Isn't that what you heard? Let's keep going though. This, what we see in quotation marks, is a direct quote of Dumb Diverses. Powerful. We weighing all and singular the premises with due meditation, and noting that since we had formerly by other letters of ours granted among other things free and ample faculty to the aforesaid King Alfonso, here we go, to invade, search out, capture, vanquish, and subdue all Saracens or Moors and pagans whatsoever. So what is a pagan, right? We hear that word get thrown around all the time. I'm going to simplify it for you. A pagan is anybody that doesn't have the mindset of westernized Christianity, specifically Roman Catholicism. If you do not agree with their beliefs down to the T, you are considered a pagan. You are considered what the very next group of words says, and other enemies of Christ. You're enemy of Christ in their eyes. So let's read that again. To invade, search out, capture, vanquish, and subdue all Saracens and pagans whatsoever, and other enemies of Christ wheresoever placed, and the kingdoms, dukedoms, principalities, dominions, possessions. This is a lot. Let's read all of this. Let's read this one more time. They were invading and searching out and capturing and vanquishing and subduing Saracens and pagans. And guess what? Their kingdoms. They had kingdoms created. Their dukedoms. These are just the terms they're using. But they had advanced civilization. But you have been told that everybody that was in the Americas and in Africa was in Western Africa were savages. That's what you've been told. But they're telling you something completely different right here. Their kingdoms, dukedoms, counties, principalities, dominions, possessions, and goods, and to convert them to his and their use by profit. What? Excuse my language, but slutted them out by having secured the said faculty, the said King Alfonso, or by his authority, the aforesaid Infante, justly and lawfully has acquired and possessed and doth possess. Here we go. These islands. What islands? If this came from Western Africa to the Americas, what islands could they possibly be talking about? Let me get another coffee break while you think about it. Okay, let me tell you, since you have thought about it. The Caribbean islands, the Virgin Islands, Jamaica, Haiti, Puerto Rico, Dominion, or excuse me, Dominican Republic. That's what the DR actually means. It means Dominion, Republic. These islands, lands, harbors, and seas. Oh, there goes the maritime laws. And they do of right belong and pertain to the said King Alfonso and his successors. Everybody, all of these leaders here. Let me turn my mic down. My mic looks like it's going crazy. Hold on one second. These leaders here in the Americas are just successors to King Alfonso. They're the successors. They're the successors Dumb Diverses is talking about. Let's keep going. That's just a piece of it too. That's not even all of it. In 1493, Alexander VI issued the bull Inter Caetera. We're going to get into that too, stating one Christian nation did not have the right to establish dominion over lands previously dominated by another Christian nation, thus establishing the law of nations. This is real history you learning right now, my good people. Together, the Dumb Diverses, the Romanus Pontifex, and the Inter Caetera came to serve as the basis and justification for the Doctrine of Discovery, the global slave trade of the 15th and 16th centuries, and the age of imperialism. It's the doctrine of this is why the Pope, I don't know if y'all witnessed this or saw this or paid attention to it. This is why the Pope earlier this year recanted or tried to disassociate himself with the Doctrine of Discovery. He said, hey, you know what? The Vatican Church, we had absolutely nothing to do with it. It's all on the hands of Americans right now. He put the blame on Americans, and people don't even know what that really means. Okay? So we're gonna look at the Latin version of Dumb Diverses. Ooh, hold on one second, y'all. This is just what it looks like. Just so you can have well, this is how long it is, though. This is how long it is. Let me get off of this. Let me get off of that. Let's go back. Hold on. Excuse me. I'm freestyling right now. I'm freestyling. Okay. Let's look at Inter Caetera real fast. Let's look at Inter Caetera. Okay. So we'll read the introduction. Christopher Columbus, because you have to remember this. We always hear about how Columbus just randomly discovered these lands, right? He was searching for the New World. He thought it was India. That's why he called everybody over here, quote unquote, Indians. But they knew exactly who the people were that were here. The whole world knew. Africa knew. Asia knew. All of that. They were a specific group of people. A specific group. Let's look at this introduction. Christopher Columbus returned from his voyage on March the 4th, 1493, landing first at the mouth of the Tagus River close to Lisbon, Portugal. He informed the Portuguese authorities of his arrival and met with King John II before continuing on to the Spanish port of Palos, arriving on March 15th. He probably reached the Aragonese court in Barcelona by mid-April. While still in Portugal, or perhaps while on his way to the Spanish court, Columbus dispatched 2 letters written in Spanish describing the experiences and findings of his first voyage. All right. We're going to go on some of these letters a little bit later in deeper series. But when you start reading these letters, he found highly advanced civilizations here, specifically in the Americas. Highly advanced. Just like the movie Black Panther, that type of technology was happening. And he wrote about it. He didn't even understand it. We're going to continue though. One was addressed to his supporter and benefactor, Luis de Santander. I'm bad with names too, just to let you know. Escribano de Racion at the court of Aragon, and the other to the Spanish monarchs, Isabella and Ferdinand. The letter was soon published between late March and mid-April, most likely in Barcelona, and a Latin version, purportedly translated on April 29th, was printed in Rome, while Pope Alexander VI, a Spaniard himself, would have had no issues reading the Spanish version. It is likely that it was the Latin translation that was brought to his attention. Okay, cool. I'm going to say that bottom part so we get to it. While clearly informed by Columbus's letter and whatever additional information the Spanish monarchs may have provided, Antikythera must first and foremost be seen and understood in the context of a series of papal bulls that reached the development of Portuguese and Spanish discoveries. I like how they put that right there, those quotes. First along and off the western coast of Africa, but later also with regard to the transatlantic route to quote unquote India, right? Which we know now is the new quote unquote new world. The bull Antikythera was not even the first with this name. In 1456, Galactus III, an uncle of the later Pope Alexander VI, had issued a bull, the main text of which, after the introductory, I can't even talk. I got coffee flowing through my veins, excuse me. After the introductory protocol began with these words, and a bull is usually named after these opening words, going beyond the geographical scope of its predecessors, Dum Diversus, 1452, and Romanus Pontifex 2 years later in 1454, both issued by Pope Nicholas V, a Roman Catholic. The 1456 Antikythera bull granted Portugal the right of conquest 2 years after that. Right? And this is what we're going to read. We're going to read about Antikythera, which gave Portugal the right of conquest, the rights to go around and conquer. Let's read. This is vital. As far as the Indies, that is, Asia, as William Henry Scott reminds us, and threatened any challengers with excommunication. Similarly, after the Treaty of Alcoba's ended, Spain's unsuccessful attempt to do so, Sixto IV Artini Regis of 1481 granted what had already been decided by naval artillery. Portuguese occupation of Atlantic islands like the Azores, Madeiras, and Cape Verdes, and sanctioned all future such discoveries in the ocean seas, the waters believed to surround the Eurasian landmass. What are they talking about?